Us, we have Excellency Tirut, acting head of the Central of the PPP unit, Ministry of Economic and Finance. We have also Ms. Natasha Beschorner, Senior Digital Development Specialist of World Bank. Mr. Remi Pell, Chairman of the Cambodian Association of Finance and Technology. And last but not least, and we have Mr. Shinohara Yuji, the representative of Japan International Cooperation Agency, Cambodia office. So, yeah, just like other session as well, we also have the first part of the session that the panelists will deliver a respective presentation. And the second part will follow by the Q&A if we have suitable time. So first of all, let's start from our global level. We are lucky to have the World Bank Senior Digital Development Specialist, Ms. Natasha Beschorner. So thank you for joining us. We'd love to hear from you that you could share the panel, should share the workshop on the supporting of the digital transformation that the World Bank have been conducted worldwide, and also we wish to how the World Bank could assist to accelerate the digital transformation in Cambodia. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Excellencies, and it's a real pleasure and privilege to be speaking to such a distinguished audience. I have a short presentation that, in the interest of time, I'll make even shorter to share with you. But first of all, let me just say a few words about the World Bank on digital. So I'm from the World Bank's Digital Development Department. We work in more than 100 countries around the world on supporting various types of digital transformation programs. So if I could ask our colleagues, NPTC, to kindly share the PowerPoint presentation that I have prepared, or advise whether I should share the screen myself. Thank you.
Dear Ms. Natasha, our technical team will help you to share the slide. Please give us a moment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So so what I will do in the presentation is just give a little bit of context as to why the World Bank is engaged on this and the linkages between the rapid development of the digital economy and the importance of digital government. Then I'll talk about the some of the projects and programs that the World Bank is supporting in this region, in East Asia and Pacific. I will be, in case we run out of time at the end, I'll also be happy to follow up any questions by email, and I have provided my contact details So yeah, if you let me know when the first slide is up, then we can go ahead with a quick presentation. I'm based in the Philippines, by the way. My last visit to Cambodia was more than 2 years ago. So let's go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So as I mentioned before, as we all know, and we've been discussing, that digital development is really the main driver right now of economic development in this region. The internet economy is growing very rapidly, jobs are being created, economies are diversifying, and there's a shift to the service economy, which has a lot of implications for how government itself needs to digitalize, because all these businesses and services require that government itself facilitate their expansion and development. Next slide, please. So accordingly, the World Bank's own digital development agenda has evolved. So we're focusing a lot now on new technologies, new policy issues, and how we integrate digital development into questions around sustainability. So one of the, so in terms of the key enablers, and these are also important in many respects for digital government and collaboration with the private sector, we need to look at how governments can be involved and take advantage of trends in data, analytics, cloud computing, AI, etc., and IoT. So this is, so the private-public collaboration will be a very important part of this agenda going forward. Next steps, please. Next slide. So in this region, as you know, that the economies of this region are very diverse stages of digital development, but certainly digitalization of government services has become an important part of the agenda. So for example, here in the Philippines, one of the sort of clear outcomes of the pandemic was that, the demand, including for government digital services, has gone up tremendously. But at the moment, the government is not so well positioned to deliver on this because many of the fundamental elements are not in place. So in the Pacific Islands, the governments there are still focused very much on how to improve basic internet access. In the ASEAN economies, the pace of digital development is picking up, particularly in the middle income countries, including the direction where Cambodia is heading. So next slide, please. We did a study 2 years ago, just before the pandemic, actually, and we had also shared this with colleagues in Cambodia and elsewhere in the region about how the digital economy is based on a number of key pillars. Of course, connectivity, internet access, digital and safe and secure digital payments, skills and logistics, and then the role of government in digital policy and regulation. So this was really a starting point for our engagement in this region on these topics. Next, please. Next slide, please. So what we are working on at the moment, and I'll discuss these projects, are really on focus areas around digital foundations, so connectivity, data, enabling environment, cybersecurity and skills. We have a number of projects that we are working on smart government in Mongolia, on digital identification in Indonesia, digital transformation in the Philippines, connectivity in the Pacific, and then technical assistance or advisory assistance on digital economy and government in Vietnam and Laos. And we also are working on a project in Cambodia on digital, but it's more focused on SMEs and entrepreneurship. And we do collaborate very much with other development partners in this region and globally. Next slide, please. So if I can really outline the focus of our support in this region, it is very much on these foundations of connectivity, data infrastructure, climate change resilience, the regulatory environment. And then on the private sector, what we are, how we're working with the private sector to support digital development has many dimensions. So in one area, it's helping to improve the overall investment climate. Secondly, for business models, for example, in rollout of fiber optic cables or mobile networks to unserved areas through PPPs, or mobilizing private investment, for example, in digital government services. And this area is, while there is a lot of private sector involvement through outsourcing or various arrangements in many countries, it's an area that still needs more development in this region, particularly with effective oversight of the private sector leveraging the expertise, but also ensuring that there is consistency across agencies and across national and local governments in terms of technology sustainability. Next slide, please. So here's a short list of the current projects. As you can see, we have projects that address connectivity, data infrastructure, regulations, digital government, digital identification, and then overall resilience. Next slide, please. So let me talk a little bit about some of the projects, since we're talking mainly about digital government here, just to give you an idea of the kind of programs that they're working on with many countries in this region. So, for example, we will soon be approving a project in Mongolia called Smart Government. It's Smart Government 2 because we've already been working with the government there on building foundations. So the scope is really, or the objective is really to improve the quality and the efficiency of online public services, and at the same time, increase the availability of digital skills and digital enabled jobs. So it includes a number of components that will support the digitalization of hundreds of government services and the supporting infrastructure for that. And there's strong commitment from the government to pursue this. Next slide, please. We're also working on a program supporting the digital transformation here in the Philippines. As you know, there's an election coming up here in May, and so the details of this will be elaborated further thereafter. But a key component to enable service delivery and digital government includes a number of policy and regulatory reforms. For example, the further liberalization of telecommunications, data regulation, and strong legal foundations for digital transactions. For example, here at the moment, government processes are almost all paper-based, and this is very, very challenging. So we also, to complement this, will be supporting digital infrastructure and digital transformation for small and medium enterprises. Next slide, please. In Indonesia, we'll be working with a number of agencies to strengthen legal identity systems and introduce digital identity, which will also significantly enable access to government services in Indonesia. And it's very challenging in Indonesia because it's a decentralized government system, you know, with multiple information systems, processes, procedures, etc. Next slide, please. We are working at the moment, this is not in East Asia, but I thought I would share this with you because this is a project I'm actually working on at the moment in Pakistan, the Digital Economy Enhancement Project. And a major component of that will be digital government, including the establishment of a citizen services portal and a Pakistan business portal. And these services will be built on the basis of a national data exchange layer that really enable all agencies of government to have access to common core data sets on a secure basis. Also, an important part of that will be access to personal data, basically a digital wallet, not of money, but of key documents. And this will be sitting on government cloud systems where there is also potential for partnership with the private sector as providers of cloud services. So this is an example of the kind of public-private ecosystem that is being developed for implementation of a major digital government project. Next slide, please. We're working with the government of Vietnam, which has strong ambitions, but has still to develop several of the key pillars of digital economy. And an important part of that is also helping to develop a sustainable strategy for digital government, which Vietnam has already advanced on in many areas, but has yet to achieve maturity in many of the areas around data infrastructure, regulation and government, and really overall readiness for digitalization of services. Next slide, please. So coming back to the broader theme, so our mandate here in the World Bank is really to address the key challenges that will help to strengthen the digital economy through a number of components of digital transformation. So that it encompasses skills, entrepreneurship, digital financial services, digital platforms, and infrastructure. And it speaks to many of the higher level development goals that our institution supports together with other development partners. Next, please. And again, this is really rooted in our approach, which is really built on the strong foundations of partnership. A lot of components here, but all involving sort of leverage both of technologies, policies, and capabilities, both in the public and private sector. So let me stop here and thank you for your attention. I've put this thank you slide up just to highlight the recent World Development Report, which is about data and how it can be used for enabling various digital services. Thank you very much.